Let's be honest, parenting can be messy and hard, but also so rewarding. In this podcast, we'll share all the ups and downs of parenthood, as well as share some of our favorite tips and tricks for parenting using both our experiences and expertise from our professional lives as a speech and language pathologist and teacher, but also our everyday lives as moms, just trying to balance it all. We're so glad you could join us.
Hello, welcome to And Then We Had Kids. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Sheena.
And I say it whenever we do have a guest on here, but I love when we have guests because, it just opens up so many different avenues that I didn't even know really existed. And because of this podcast, we get to meet somebody new and they get to share their story. So I'm really excited who we have on for this episode. We have Melissa Mor, who is the owner, founder, creative genius behind Mrs. Push. And so Melissa, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll get talking about what exactly Mrs. Push is.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm Melissa Mor. I'm a mom of 3 and the founder of Mrs. Push, an online push present destination, which kind of stemmed after me not getting a push present with my first, and it snowballed onto the third. So I realized other people had this issue, so I solved the problem.
Yeah, Jenny and I have not received push presents for any of ours, gentlemen. I know you're listening.
Yeah.
Did you know what a push present was? Like,
I for sure did. I don't know, Jenny, if you did.
I was thinking about that, and I have 3 as well. And I knew of it for like my second and my third, but I'm thinking back to my first, and I want to say yes, but then I must also know if I'm like retroactively being like, I should have gotten 3. Like, let me count them all up. I've had 3
Yeah.
kids.
I definitely knew what they were, but like obviously didn't receive one, which is fine. We did a baby moon, which not everyone does.
I didn't do one of those either. So my husband should really be listening. I am like lining up all the things that I'm like due for. So Melissa, you have this great site called Mrs. Push, and it's just that, like, you put together this website that moms to be, current moms, dads to be could go, family members could go check out and get ideas for like push presents.
yeah, essentially when I started my career, I was a buyer in women's designer fashion. So I've always been curating my whole life, which is actually a funny story. Are you guys into human design at all?
Yes.
So I recently have gotten into it, and one of the first things that came up under my human design is, after I've already created my business, is you're a curator, you're a tastemaker, and like you should always be curating. And I was like, wow, that kind of validated things for me at least.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So then basically after, I had kids and I back and forth with different fashion companies, I set out to start my own business, and I curate from all different designers. For the most part, are all female and mom owned jewelry brands.
Oh, that's awesome. So you didn't receive a push present. So is that kind of like what stemmed this for you?
Yeah. So growing up, I always received jewelry for every occasion. For my 5th birthday, my birthday is in March. I got a gold, 14 karat gold ring with a heart aquamarine stone. My daughter steals from me all the time to this day, but it's super small. It doesn't fit on my fingers anymore. It's obviously kid size. So I grew up like that. It was always like any big occasion would be marked with jewelry. So when I was pregnant with my first, my husband didn't really know much about it. And I told him, oh, what am I getting for a push present? And he thought I was making it up. He's like, this is not a thing.
Is he like, the answer was the child? Like, that's your kid?
He was just like,
thank you.
It's just an excuse to get jewelry. What are you talking about? So it just became this joke. And he got so overwhelmed because everything was custom for the most part, or it was like something that everyone else had. And I wanted something a little bit more special, either with like a name or a birthstone. And he didn't really have a jeweler that he could confidently go to, to say like, this is going to be the push present. She's going to love this. So He was just like, I'm going to give you money. Do what find something you like. So it became this running joke that we started the push fund. I didn't get a push present, but we started the push fund. Then my second was born. Okay. Added to the fund. At this point, I lived in New York. I was born and raised in New York. And then during COVID, I was pregnant with my third, and we had moved from New York to Atlanta. I knew I wanted to start a business, but I was like not 100% sure what it was. I kept saying like, bring me the answers.
Yeah.
And then one night we were sitting on the couch and I was like, so what are we doing for a push present this time? And I was like, it's already 3, you have to make it good this time. And he was like, I don't know what to do. I'll give, it'll be the same thing as it's been. I'll give you money at it. And when you see something that you like, great, show it to me and we'll decide. And I was like, I think other people have this issue too. There's no one-stop shop for push presents. And we kind of had that like aha moment where we looked at each other and we were like, this is it. So since then I set out to create the business.
That's awesome. So talk to us a little bit about Mrs. Push and how it works in terms of like, do people just go to your website or tell us a little bit more about just the company and the brand and whatnot?
Yeah, for the most part, everything is on the website, but there's options. Really, the customizations are endless. So people reach out on Instagram or, they'll reach out. I had someone reach out. They saw an influencer post something and their daughter's middle name was another stone, not even a birthstone. And they said, could you have it done? Could you have this done with my daughter's middle name? I reached out to the designer and they were like, we don't typically do it, but yeah, we can make it happen. They sent me a few options. So, a lot of times it's over DMs. People see someone else wearing something and they want something similar, but, a little bit different specifications. Sometimes people are easy and go with exactly, what's on the site. Or there's email options for them to reach out to us and we can discuss different customization options and things like that.
That's cool. Do you have like the same set of jewelers or designers that you use, or are you kind of always looking to add to that? Repertoire is not the right word. Portfolio.
I guess line up.
I don't know what the right word is for this.
I'm always looking to add. That's probably one of my biggest passions in life is just finding new designers and new talent, whether it's clothing, shoes, anything. I'm just like a fashion girl. So anytime I find something that I love and I'm excited about, I get that feeling that, and it's the same with jewelry. So I'm always...
You're talking to the right ladies.
Can never get enough.
Exactly.
We always go shopping together.
I'm always on the lookout for, for new up and coming trends and brands and things like that.
And right now you have primarily jewelry. I was perusing myself. Holidays are coming up. Not a bad time to be looking. Even I'm not having another baby anytime soon, or most likely ever again. But I mean, I always love, now that I have kids, like I love that personalization. Like you said, Melissa, like I love anything. I have like the birthstone necklace. I have a necklace with like initials on it. And like, I love having different options. And so primarily it's jewelry is what you have so far on your site.
Right now,
yeah. What are kind of like big picture goals? Like what else do you envision for Mrs. Push as like options for people? Maybe not in the near future, but even goals for yourself.
Yeah, I never thought like women or girls or whatever you want to say would say, I'm not a jewelry person, but I have had a few of those. And so I've had to think about it. Obviously for me, it's like push present. It's obviously jewelry, but definitely something where you can commemorate, the mom and the child in terms of art or photos, something extra special, but where it's something more of like a time capsule situation than something to wear, either a piece of art or something, like a collector's piece to hold on to in your home.
Oh, that'd be nice. I also like that, while it's geared as push presents, I think it's also a wonderful shop, if you're looking for like a Mother's Day gift or something, because it's so mom focused and you can personalize all the different options. So even though we're past the push present stage in my household, Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Mother's Day gifts, always an option.
Yeah, for sure. I think when I started, I thought it was going to be solely push presents, and so many messages and comments that I've gotten is, I'm a mom of two, my oldest is 8, can I still get a push present? I still want something with my kid's name, I never got something. And the answer is of course. Like, it really is a focus on, on mom jewelry overall, just something a little special, like you said, that can be customized, engraved, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you offer for, sorry, clearly I'm working in my house and someone's downstairs making a lot of noise, but if someone would order jewelry for like their first child, then if they have another, however many, do you allow for like people to ship back any jewelry to then like add pieces to it? Or is that not yet something that you guys offer?
Yeah, so it depends on the brand. If someone comes to me and says, this is my first child, for the most part, usually they plan on having more kids. So for example, I'd always recommend a charm. Like these hearts that I'm wearing right now, it's all of my 3 kids' birthstones.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I have that one pulled up on your site. I was like looking and that's like opened up. I was like, that's something I don't have yet. Like that's a cute one.
Yeah, so these are really nice, and you can also do a diamond initial from the same designer, so you can like layer them. If you feel like you want a little more bling one day, you can wear the pavé initials, and if you don't, you can just wear it as the hearts. So in general, I would recommend like a charm or something like that for a first-time mom. That way you can always add on. But I do have a few designers which is really great. They're willing to take back whatever the piece is, and they'll add a new initial, or they'll add a new birth date and things like that. It really depends on the piece, but it is definitely an option.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, same.
Is there push present etiquette? Like, how does a dad decide what to get, when to give it?
There is. I actually had an influencer write up a whole article on this, and maybe we can link it.
Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, her site is Petite in Paris.
Okay.
And she got a mini pavé, actually the one that I was talking about that goes with this, a mini pavé initial for her son, and she wrote a whole article about etiquette.
Oh, okay.
So it's very detailed on when to get it, and even should the dad get a push present, which was one of the questions that she had on there. Like, she bought her husband something. I don't know about you guys, but like my husband's always like, can you get me something with the kids' names? And I bought him so many things and then he never wore it. So I do have,
in theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's there.
Yeah, exactly. It's the thought that counts. So I do have a few pieces for men coming in the next few weeks.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully in time for the holidays, but it depends when I'm able, it depends when it gets here and I'm able to get it up on the site.
Yeah.
Just even if it's not, obviously it's not like a push present for dad, but just something for a dad to wear if they want to have their kids' initials or names or birth dates, on around their neck or on their arm.
Yeah. If a dad has like no clue what to get, do you help kind of guide them towards like, what are your wife's interests or whatnot, to help kind of streamline that process for them?
For sure. They're often sending us pictures, and then we're trying to kind of match what would work for them or about their lifestyle. Like if it's a stay-at-home mom, if she's a stay-at-home mom, she might want something that's like a little more casual, where if she's working in an office or she has, she goes out a lot, she might want something a little bit more dressy. So we're constantly working with the dads, but for the most part, I have to say it's the women who are sending the links to the men. It's like, oh, I got this link, can you check out?
Yeah,
that's actually like how I got my engagement ring. Was I created a whole Pinterest board and shared it with my sister, and I was like, your only responsibility is to make sure he pays attention to this so I get exactly what I want. And I did. That's funny.
Need that support every once in a while.
Yeah. What do you do for yourself? Like, how do you balance being an entrepreneur and, kids at home? You said you have 3.
Yeah. There's definitely no such thing as balance. I mean, obviously some days are crazier than others.
Yep.
I'm definitely like big into holistic health and wellness and things like that. So I have like a red light therapy device. which is, like it's good for skin. It's good for so many different things. And then I have an infrared like sauna blanket that I like to use. That one's more time consuming, so I don't do it as often as I should. But those are definitely like my little, times that I can get away. I use those type of things. At least I feel like not only do I have alone time and like can clear my head, but I'm also doing something that's, positive for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say? I mean, again, I was just cruising on your site. I love stuff like this. What would you say your number one sellers are?
Well, I have a new brand who I just brought on, Kelly Bello.
Ooh.
And her pieces are really dainty and they're great price point. So people have really been loving those. It's like starting at $150, I would say, to like the 500s, but you can get like a little dainty chain heart ring, and you can engrave, a bunch of different, you can fit birthdays on there, you can fit initials, you can all of that. So I'm loving her pieces at the moment. Those are great. But if not, like the typical initial and name necklaces are always, number one.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I've been eyeing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're definitely like adding things. Sheena and we've been texting each other a lot over this Black Friday weekend. If anyone wants to do some shopping, and we're like looking at your website, we're like, did you see this one? Or we're like sending shots to each other, like, hey, did you see this necklace? What about this bracelet? Like this ring would be nice. So I highly recommend it. Like you said, like there's just some nice pieces. You have a good wide range of price points in there for people. It's a big deal when you have a baby, that it's okay to spend a little money on these ones. But if you're not feeling it, like you just said, you have a lot of range for people. But like I said, I love all your stuff. I don't know. It's like going on my list is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm excited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So how can people find out more about you and Mrs. Push?
On Instagram, I'm at Shop Mrs. Push, and on TikTok too, but I'm not as active on there as I am on Instagram. And basically just on the website, my contact info is there, and anyone can feel free to reach out if they're looking to custom something, or if they just want to chat. Like, I love hearing everyone's push present stories. For me, it's just so entertaining, and sometimes I turn that into content. With people just like, I had a C-section. Does that count as a push present? Yes, of course it does. So I'm constantly getting these like funny messages, or a husband will buy something like really funny that shouldn't have been the push present, and they're like, can you believe what he sent me or what he bought me? So it's just like, I love to hear all the stories because
that's awesome.
Yeah, ours are just short. We're still waiting. It's been a hot moment. But no, that would be pretty funny if like, oh, I didn't, that's really comical. You're like, no, you had a baby, count it. Oh, you had another baby, count it twice. Yeah,
exactly. One of the questions on the push present, the etiquette article, was if I had twins, do I get 2 push presents? And she even answered that on there.
Oh, that is a fair question.
Yeah.
Yes. Right?
You grew two children. Yeah. Yes.
I'm gonna say, I hope she agrees. But I didn't have twins.
I feel like my friends with twins would all agree with me.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Oh. We'll make sure to link the website and your Instagram too, and your TikTok in the show notes. Anything else for our listeners?
I don't think so. Anything else you'd like to ask me, or?
I mean, I think it's just great. Like I said, I don't know personally. I mean, I probably do when I think about it, but my brain is a little tired from having a 6-month-old. But I feel like if someone who is either like an artist or jewelry maker or designer, do you have people like reach out to you to collaborate with you if someone's like, oh, this is a way for them to get their pieces kind of put out there? How does someone like from that realm connect with you?
That's a great question. I would say that they can either DM me on Instagram or reach out on the website on our contact us page. And I'm constantly having that monitored. And, anytime I feel like someone's a match, I'm really excited to connect with them. And you have a 6-month-old, you really need a push present.
Right? That's what I said. Like, it kind of times out nicely with the holidays coming up. And I think
especially because we had a shopping trip planned that
Oh,
got
what?
postponed.
That's right.
You know?
So yeah, like I said, I had up that necklace. Now that you showed us, I mean, obviously our listeners can't see it, but it was like, oh, it's like meant to be. That was the one I had pulled up. You're wearing it. It's beautiful. I think it would look great with any collection that I have. So that's just pretty funny.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think I just think it is really helpful. I think people kind of get lost. It's like one of those where like there's so many options and there's so many choices out there, but to have a centralized place where you can go, get ideas, shop as moms to be, dads to be, current parents, I think it's a really great idea.
Thank you. I see it the same as like an engagement ring, a wedding band. I mean, let's just normalize the push present. Let it become,
Yes.
what an engagement ring is. It's just everyone knows what it is and everybody gets one for the most part.
I love it.
It's a great celebration of what has happened in our lives. Like it's such a big defining moment.
Yeah.
That to be able to have a piece of jewelry that means so much in such a time where, I mean, I don't know about your birth stories, Melissa, but like mine and Sheena's were like, they're really challenging and they're really difficult and also good. Like, you know what I mean? Like there were so many emotions that go into being pregnant, having a baby, right after having a baby. So while a push present is great, like for myself and other people, like there's also any time in parenthood to be able to recognize what's
Right.
happened in your lives, and having a baby and having a kid is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I also think for kids' birthdays, parents should also be recognized of like, hey, it's the first year, you did it, 2 years, 3 years,
You kept him alive.
You
I
can.
have to say, the first time my husband ever surprised me with jewelry was, I think it was my son's 4th birthday, who's my oldest. And I was not expecting anything. He was like, I know we didn't decide on the push present. At this point, I had 2 kids, and he just like throws me this box. And I was like, what is that? And it was the first time he got it on video and everything, because I was totally surprised.
Oh,
So
but it's a big deal then too. Like the getting older, but like what that means to us as moms, big deal.
Yeah.
I think like that's the one that's also underestimated as like a milestone in our lives, and how like moments with our kids is like their birthdays are like, oh, you just get sent back to that day when you had them. Big deal. Celebrate it with a gift from Mrs. Push. Like not a bad idea. I think it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like we hope that everybody gets a chance to check out Mrs. Push. There's a great time right now for the holidays. Think about people in your lives that might want something a little personalized, jewelry. So yeah, check it out. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks,
Thank
Melissa.
you.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all of the latest, you can follow us on Instagram @_andthenwehadkids. Thanks again, and like we say, life used to be carefree, and then we had kids.